Okay, everyone. So today we're going to be looking at the new time predictor estimates for YDNA. These have just been introduced in the last few weeks, and they really do simplify things and make it easier to understand the whole concept of YDNA. So what I'm going to do is take you through a little worked example. Now, what I would always recommend is that you compare at the highest level that you have tested to with the highest level that your match has tested to. And that is what you should always do when you're making comparisons on YDNA. I'm going to do something slightly different today because I'm going to just go through all of the different levels to show you the differences and to help your understanding of how the time predictions work. But that's not the method that I would recommend that everyone do. You would always just look at the highest level. So what we're going to do is start at the Y37 level. And this is just a little snapshot of my matches page. And what you're seeing here is that I have 34 matches at 37 markers. And what that means is that there's been 37 different positions in my DNA have been looked at, and I've got a value for each of those 37 markers. You can see that I've got a lot more matches at these levels, but really the entrance level now in terms of testing is a Y37 level. You can then compare at 67 and 111. And the tests available to buy are 37 or 111. The 67 has been withdrawn, but other people have already tested to the level of 67. So if you upgrade to the 111, you will still be able to compare with people who have previously tested to the 67 level. So what this is going to do is give you your number of matches, and then all your matches are listed beneath that. And most of you will be familiar with that format. The one I'm going to be looking at here is this particular match here, and it's the second person on each of my examples here. So this is the one I'm going to be talking about. And what we're seeing here is that this person has tested up to the big Y level. So that's the big Y700. So you can always see in this column how far people have tested. Now, this person here has only tested up to 37 markers. So they will never appear on my 67 or 111 results until they would upgrade. So that's the highest level that I can currently compare with them. But as I said, we're going to be looking at this example today. So what we're seeing here is a genetic distance of 1. And what that means is that these markers are matching 36 out of 37. So this is the mismatch. So basically it's a 1 step out of the 37, meaning that we match on 36 markers. And what we can do then is we can look at the information provided in this little symbol here. So this is the little time predictor, a tip report that people refer to it as. And when you click on this, it brings you into an estimate of how closely you're related to that person. Now, if you have done this in the past, you would have found that this would have been worked out according to the mutation rates of individual markers, and it was done in a more complex way. And what it meant was that if you had two people who were both 1 step difference from you, so they both matched you on 36 out of 37, it meant that there could be different time predictions on that. Now, this has all been simplified. And what has happened now is that you get a clearer and a simpler time prediction. And what I'm going to do is show you what happens now whenever you click on that little report. And when you do, this is what you get. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on what this all means, the one that is highlighted is the one that it's telling you. So it's giving me a time prediction for 1750, and this is Christian age, which we would call in the UK AD. So what this means is that it's giving you the number of markers that you are different. So that is the mismatches that you have in those levels of testing. If you're comparing somebody at the 37 level, well, you can be a perfect match. So that means you're matching on 37 out of 37 markers. And that means you're a perfect match, and your time prediction would be around 1800. If you've got a genetic distance of 1, you match on 36 out of 37. And you can go right down to 4 as a genetic distance. And 4 means that you're matching on 33 out of 37. Now, that's the lowest number of markers you're allowed to have a mismatch on at the 37 level. If you had a mismatch of 5, you wouldn't show as a match. But then at the 67 level, you have more of a scope, basically, to find a match. So you have to be in within a genetic distance of 7. So that means you have to match on 60 out of those 67 positions. And on the 111, you've got a mismatch of 10 that's possible. So again, you have to match on 101 out of your 111 markers. So what this is doing is giving you one table that shows you all of your time predictions for all of those different levels of tests. And the one that is highlighted is the one that is being suggested by the comparison that you're currently making. At the bottom, you are getting slightly more information, and these are worked out at different prediction levels. So you can get a 68% certainty level, or you can get a 95%, and it's down there if you want to get the actual rates there as well, and a bit more information about that. If we go to the next one now and do a comparison at 67, because what I'm going to show you here is the same example at all the different levels and show you how it changes slightly. It's because you're getting a better comparison of DNA because you're comparing more. So obviously a comparison at 67 or 111 is going to be better than a comparison at 37. So at 37, we've been predicted 1750. When we look at yes, that's what I wanted to mention there to you. If I click on this little number that is highlighted to me, if I click on that, it brings me into the confidence levels. And what it shows you here is it's showing you a bit more information. It's showing you your confidence levels at 68, 95, and 99%. And this is the one that it is showing you there. It is showing you that you're around 1735. So that's just making that same prediction slightly more accurate, because on the previous page, it's rounded to the nearest 50 years. So you're getting that mean there. And then you're saying that the 95% confidence is that our common ancestor would be between those dates there. And then the 95% is giving you even wider there. So you can just see how that's all working there. So you're getting, that's your 95, and this is your 99 then at the bottom. It's from there to there. So that could be useful just to have that. You only get that information when you click on the highlighted one there. So you would just click on that in order to get that. Okay. So when we move on now to 67, you can see this same person is matching me again. And they are still a genetic distance of 1. Now, obviously, that's a slightly better match, because if you have a genetic distance of 1 at Y37, it means you match on 36 out of 37 markers. This means that you match on 66 out of 67. So that's slightly better odds, and it will move the prediction closer to the present day. And this time prediction is the date for which the common ancestor for both people would live. So that's a common ancestor for me and this person on my match list. So again, I click on this little time predictor button, and this is what I get. So now I'm looking at this column because we're comparing Y67 and not Y37. And you can see that we have moved now closer to the present day. And now the prediction is 1800. And that's because we still only have a mismatch of 1 at a higher level of testing. And then we move to the Y111. And again, I can see that the match is the second on my list, but this time there's a genetic distance of 4, meaning that we match on 107 out of 111. So that's going to change things slightly, but that's going to be the most accurate comparison because it's placing us and allowing us to compare on a higher number of genetic markers. And this is what we get now. So 4 brings us down to there, and now it has went in the opposite direction. It went from 1750 to 1800, and now we're getting 1700. Let's put it further back in time because we now have a genetic distance of 4. And again, you can see your mean and your different levels if you click on that. Now, the most accurate of all, if I just go back to the previous screen, you can see here that this person's actually tested their big Y700. So that's going to give me the most accurate comparison of all, because both people have tested up to that level. So that's really the one that I should have been looking at all along. So I've went from 1750 to 1800, then back to 1700, but the big Y is going to give me the most accurate comparison of all. And this is that. So this is my haplogroup that has been determined by the big Y test. And I've just done a screen print here of Discover. So the Discover website that we talked in previous interest group meetings explains exactly how this works. And it's going to bring you into this group. And in this group, there is 2 testers, both from Northern Ireland. And that is myself and my uncle. And we're both in a little group that was defined by a mutation that occurred in one individual about 1900. So that's a very recent group that has been created. And you can see now that the previous group is this group here. And it's been given a name as well. Now, my group is this group here. And this group here is visible to me on my Y111 results. So if you just look at this, mine ends in 964. And the previous one that I was part of was 435. And if we just go back to the previous slide, you will see there that this second person whose DNA I'm trying to determine is actually in that group, that 435 group. And this is my uncle who's in the same group as me. So that's the 2 comparisons that I want to make. And what I'm finding is that this group here that I'm part of is actually a subgroup of this group here. And this is a mutation that occurred in one individual, and then a different mutation was occurred further downstream, so further towards the present day, and the only ones positive for that mutation at the moment are myself and my uncle. So just going back to where we were, you can see there that that is predicted to be created about 1900, and this one is predicted to be around 1750. If you look further down, you can also see here that there is the timeline is being shown to you as well. So this is giving you the real estimation of between when those particular groups were created in one individual. And this is the group of my match, as I said. So that's the most accurate time prediction that you're getting. It's 1750. And there's also information here. Now on Discover, you can also see this in different formats. You can see the time tree. You can also see the ancestral path, and you can just click on them when you're in the Discover tool. But I've just printed off that one because I thought it explained the relationship between these 2 groups quite well. So just to summarize what we've got there, just to give you a little idea, I know exactly who that person is that I've been comparing for you today at the different levels. And the most accurate one that we've got so far has been 1750, because that's comparing the most amount of DNA. And I have found that this is my 4th cousin once removed. And our common ancestor was indeed born around 1760 or 1770. I think it was a Samuel McDowell. And I know that he had 2 children. One was a William and one was a Samuel, and they were born in the 1790s. So that fits in very well with a common ancestor who has a timescale of around 1750. So that's all fitting in very well because everything is rounded to the nearest 50 years. So we're always comparing at the highest levels to which both people have tested. And that's why big Y is giving the best results in this instance. But you could see that all of the other levels, they weren't really that far out. They were just going a little bit further one way or a little bit further the other way, because they were trying to give you the best time prediction based on the amount of DNA that was being compared. So I would just like to summarize that by saying that your new time predictions are simpler to understand because it's basically just one table that you have to get used to. It is going to be the same for everybody who is one step of a difference. Previously, it wasn't that. So it's been standardized, and you're going to get your confidence levels at the levels of 68%, 95%, and 99%. And you just have to click to get that additional information. So thank you for listening today, and I hope that was of use to you.